design you have ever seen prototype. For John, it was at a WETA workshop, whatever WETA is, in Wellington, New Zealand, with 2 tools, a spoon and a sheet of aluminum foil.
Nice.
And that's what this morning John will give us how to unlock our creative potential. So help me welcome John.
I have this idea in my head, and I really want to make it happen, but I just don't know how. I invite you to think back how many times you go through this in life. You're like, if I just had something in my hand to create this thing, but you don't have it at the time, and then that idea fades away. Just like a dream, when you wake up, that was an amazing dream, and it's gone. It just floats away into the dark. For me, this happens all the time. I have a wild imagination, and I'm constantly trying to figure out ways to prototype my ideas. When we were traveling in New Zealand, we went to the Weta workshop. And for those that don't know about it, how many of you know about Lord of the Rings, the movies? The prop design for all of those movies was made at Weta workshop, W-E-T-A. Now, Weta is a small, or actually fairly large cricket down in New Zealand, native to that area. And it's just a funky looking little creature, and they've taken that as their mascot because they build cool, funky looking things. But it's this small workshop studio that's probably about half the size of this building that started, and they did like Jim Henson, the puppets and stuff for the different movies there, Godzilla movies. They have like, I think 500 movie credits to their name of all these really cool, interesting props and design that they do. But their number one tools are a spoon and aluminum foil. Really, really weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but this is one of the fastest prototyping tools out there. And my brain was popped. I was like, no, tell me about this. And this amazing artist, she goes and just starts giving demonstration. She's like, everybody grab some foil. So I invite you to grab some foil. What you're going to do is you're going to crumple up your foil. And then unfurl your foil. Your ripped, it doesn't matter. Alright? Now what you're going to want to do is see how there's some texture. Now unwrap it a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect and straight. And you went a little bit too tight. We got more foil. Right in. Alright.
Too hot.
Now, what you want to do is you want to have the shiny side in and the dull side out. There. What that allows is for you to shape and texture things a little differently. So, I invite you, think of some little animal. Any animal in your brain. And what you're going to do is lightly crumple this down and start pinching stuff together. So I'm going to try to make that cricket I was talking about, that little Weta cricket. And it's not going to be perfect. This is not about perfection. All you do is just kind of pinch and move things around. You can tear if you want to. You can twist the foil. You can do all sorts of different stuff to it. And it also has a really good sound effect. You're hearing all of this. I bet they have taken some ideas from the sound effects workshop from this as well. So this amazing speaker, she goes and created a bird within about a minute. And just blew my mind. Alright, this is looking more and more like a starfish because I failed initially. And as it's coming together more and more, it's looking like a figure that has a small head. Here we go. Alright, so right now, I have a little bit of a figure, and it's very rough. Now take your spoon, that's the next spoon, and you can use that spoon to smooth out different areas. So rub the back of the spoon on it and it smooths things out. You use the edges of the spoon and you can create detail and shadows. And if you feel like you're getting too small of a figure, you're running out of space, you're running out of things, I have a whole roll of foil. And all you need to do is add your foil piece to the next one. Anybody like a little more foil? I'm going to add in a little bit more to try to create a head. So crumple up, shiny side in. So the speaker was talking, and as she's talking, she starts showing you the examples. And there's one dragon skull almost the size of this table. Dragon head that has the most intricate shading, the most intricate detail work. She's like, yeah, that's, I don't know, 3 pounds of aluminum foil, and picks it up off the wall and has us hold it. And this enormous piece of sculpture is super small, or super light. And this is all made with foil. Their next step in the process, when they come up with a good design that they like, is they will cover it in their custom modeling clay. Now the clay that they've designed, it has some plasticizers in it, so it doesn't dry out immediately. So you're able to work with it quite a bit. You can get to be very thin. You can do like 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch thick around your foil, and your foil is your base. Now modeling clay, you're able to work with it that day, and you're able to work with it for 3 or 4 days, where you can continue to add more and more detail to it. Once you do that, it can either be fired or it will dry on its own. Once it's dried on its own, it is able to be used as outdoor sculpture. That's it, on its own. And they have created props for hundreds of different movies this way. They've also created outdoor jungle gym equipment for kids to play on, using this clay, and they just set it outside. And you think that there's this multiple 1,000-pound item, when in reality it weighs like 300 pounds, and a couple people can lift this giant sculpture and move it around. Phenomenal design, really cool concept. The idea that you can embrace your preschool knowledge, little kid knowledge. And as a general contractor and an engineer, we're constantly doing designs and using skills that are preschool advanced. When I'm caulking a house, I am finger painting. That's basically what I'm doing. Putting a line of caulk in there, finger painting it down. I'm cutting out an intricate pattern to put on a door. I'm just going with scissors and paper in an advanced style. I'm cutting stuff a little bit more. Well, you can do the same thing, embrace those skill sets with art too. All you're doing is perfecting your art. And if you embrace it as if you were a little kid, you embrace it as if you were the 4-year-old, that this is your first time touching some foil, and you're just playing with it. And all of a sudden, you can create something that sort of looks like a person running with a helmet on. You can create something that looks like, what'd you do there, Chuck?
It's supposed to be a sort of an ant.
Cool. It's an ant with its
Well,
legs.
it doesn't have any legs on it.
Well, it's an ant with its legs that are retracted. That's okay. Your imagination is a limit. This is one way to tangibly do cloud formation design. When you lay down in a field and you look up at clouds and you are picturing what could be coming through, what clouds, what imagery, what items does your imagination pull and extract and extrapolate from the data coming in through your visual senses? What do you create in your mind? And you can create it in your head. Now, I don't know about you, I'm not a perfect artist. I don't think there are any perfect artists out there. This does not really look like a feature of a person running. It is a clump of foil with misproportioned legs. Wait, hold on. That's a little better. Okay. it doesn't matter. It's that experimentation, it's that play, it's that embracing the imperfection of life and just having fun with it. That's what really struck me in that workshop. These are these professional prop makers that have made some of the most intricate props ever made in this world. And they are starting with aluminum foil. They are starting with their imaginations and just playing with stuff. The perfect looking item that if it came out brand new out of the package would be super shiny and gorgeous, that wouldn't work in most movies. That wouldn't work as a prop in most settings. Because once you create this shape and this item, then it needs to be distressed just like everyday life. Just like how things are done in the real world. For example, this notebook that I have, if this was shiny, brand new leather and looked just right out of the package, and somebody was carrying it, but they've carried it around like 5 years like I have, it wouldn't look like that anymore, right? It's distressed. There's different imperfections. This thing has gone through the ringer with me. That's the next level of art that Wetzel has created. Because they will go and they will take this thing in their imagination, they will create it, and then they will distress it. And they will paint little zones on there. They'll paint little shadows. They'll paint dimples. They'll paint crunching. I mean, like your water bottle there has stickers. It has been around, right? It has life to it. And that is the next level of art, is creating life from the perfect idea into a more realistic idea. Now, I invite you, when you're going through life, to go and try to embrace that little 4-year-old self. Play a little, have some fun, and don't be a perfectionist all the time. Because perfection is the enemy of progress. And I invite you to have some progress. And if you are there tasked with entertaining a 4-year-old kid, foil and a spoon. What a cheap, easy, and potentially completely transformative process that you can do to help them become their best self. Mr. President.
Thank you. 1 minute on the clock for evaluations.